So, today along with the other two videos I made with this thing, I'm going to be reviewing it now. This ESP LTD B206SM. Okay, well, let's start with, I guess, some of the more important details, like tuning stability. Now, I'm sure you won't be too surprised to hear that a $700 base has good tuning stability, especially because it's got another important detail, 2 truss rods. You'd think for its price it would only have one because, you know, it's a budget 6-string. I don't have the cap on because I'm messing with the setup a little. But there's one bad thing that comes with having 2 truss rods. The tuning may be stable, but the next relief is not consistent. So, which is really not good considering I'm switching 2 houses and my mom's house is a little more humid because it's smaller. If you understand basic aquariums, how a smaller aquarium can handle less waste than a bigger aquarium because dilution, since there's less space for the humidity to go and needing it to be very sealed up because it's middle summer, well, end of summer, but during the middle of summer it gets really hot, so you gotta have it well sealed so that heat can't get in. So that means the humidity stays high, which means the neck loses a lot of its curve, and I don't feel like adjusting it every week, so sometimes I've just got to deal with. At my dad's house it doesn't have that. But because the action's lower then, that means I also get buzz up here. Although that's only really an issue on the C string, because I just don't like high action. So at fret 24, it's less than a millimeter off the fret. That's how low I like it. So the tuners on it are really high quality for what they are. They look nice. They've got sort of a worn-in look to them, or maybe it's because they're worn in, I don't know. Pickups. They sound good. I like how it sounds. The three tuning, man, I forgot what it's called. The 3-band EQ, that's what it's called. Works fantastic. This is all of them off. This is mid all the way up. With bass half up, treble half up. How I like it is treble's just a little bit above half. And another thing that's really nice, all of the knobs except the volume knob, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, all of the knobs except the volume knob have a middle detent, so you can easily tell where the middle is, which is really nice if you're mid-song and feel like it's just not right. You can just feel around a little if there's a little break, and you'll be like, okay, that's the middle. I want it to be just a little up from that. It works really well for that, so that's something I really like. Pickups, really good. The B string has a lot of thump, despite these strings being around a month and a half. Another thing, 35-inch scale length. Really freaking good. Which means you can get away with a lot lower action without buzz, hence why I'm able to keep it at around 3/4 of a millimeter on string C with a little buzz. So that. The bridge doesn't exactly get low enough action on it. Like, you can only go so low. So what I had to do was I took the screws out of B, E, C, and G. I took the screws out of them and the little worm screws for adjusting action height, took all that out, grabbed them with the pliers, held them up against a bench grinder for a bit, wobbling a little like this. Now they're smaller, which means I can get lower action, which is nice. 35-inch scale length, B strings. got some nice tension to it, which helps give it a little more of a tone to it. If you listen to it completely off, they still sound fairly new, which is nice. There isn't much I don't like about it. Considering it's a 6-string, it is kind of light, but you aren't sacrificing any tone. I'm not sure the exact weight of it, but it takes a few weeks to get used to on this leg. I remember this leg because I said classic. I remember it started hurting right here where I have the bass, so I slowly ended up creeping it further and further away until that spot felt better. Although this isn't a tutorial on how to sit with the bass, have it in your lap so the top of the bridge is just under, or is just onto the bottom of your leg, of your right leg, and angle it so it's facing, instead of perpendicular, 90 degrees, whatever, instead of that, make it so you can clearly see C string fret 3. Well, make it so you can clearly see C string fret 3 just with proper sitting postures. That's how I sit. Some people like to sit classically. I can't exactly vouch for how it feels then because I don't know how to. Because, like, I like sitting casually because that means I don't have to touch the bass for it to stay stable, with it between it being rested against my chest, my leg, and this leg. Which means I can do funky slap without needing to hold up the bass with my other hand. There isn't much to complain about. If you get low action, it's not going to be as, you aren't going to be able to get it as loud with purely your hands on the higher strings, which I'm pretty sure is standard. Yeah. Truss rods work perfectly. I really like having the 2 truss rods because that means I don't have to worry about neck twist because I can just tighten up or loosen the other truss rod because yeah, it's nice. The finish on it's really good. There isn't really much to complain about. It does go through effect pedals very well. I've got my Hot Wax Electro Harmonics hot tubes. It goes through that very well. That last bit, Berber ding, that's played clean. So, yeah, it goes through pedals very well. Its tone's very clean. The battery in it lasts a while. I mean, I've been playing it consistently and I've only replaced it once because I felt like it. I wasn't sure why, but tone wasn't going through. Turns out it wasn't the battery dying, it was the cable broken. And I've ended up breaking 2 cables on it because I had autopilot and just set it on my bed like this. Which is why I got one that's metal right here and also 90 degrees. The 6 neck bolts in the back make it so, it's super stable on the neck, or on the body. Plus, it just fucking looks cool. I haven't worn through any of the finish with my... through any finish doing that, or maybe Oopsies. Where is it? I'm still learning that one. I just started that today. It plays nice. The fretboard feels nice. Another thing, since the neck isn't like completely round all the way around, it's super comfortable to play. I could play this thing for hours if I wanted to. I don't have anything really to complain about. I mean, at some point I might replace the bridge with an EMG 45 DC, but I looked at the wiring, they're a little different. Another thing, when plucking, your thumb rests comfortably. There's a comfortable distance between your thumb and the string. Like, maybe. And since I don't play like this, I play like this. With my hand at more of an angle like this instead of like this. Since I play like that, having a smaller gap there is essential. And it's nice that it's fairly consistent between, you know, your thumb and the bridge and the string. Pickup on the string. Bleh. If there's anything I'm gonna change on this, it might be the pickups, or maybe the preamp in it, just because 24 frets I absolutely love, which means you have a complete range, B, C, up to fret 24. So you get up to C, three octaves up. So if this were a guitar, this would be playing at fret 12 if one of the strings was tuned to C. Yeah, I can't exactly complain. It looks cool, especially the headstock, because you can't exactly get a good frame on video because, yeah, I have huge hands. I'd say around, no, I measured once because with some of the stuff I do, I measure with my fingers. My hand is around 8 inches long between right here and my middle finger. So yeah, it's like, uh-oh, I hope I didn't break my cable. Fuck. Okay. Yeah, that's really it. The dots on it look cool. There's not much to say. You might want to get a fret leveling on it because where it's manufactured, the wood is at different pressure and all that. So if you're not in the same state that it's made, or same place, which is Indonesia, not at the same place it was made, the frets are gonna sort of little the more you play it. So a few weeks after, I botched a fret leveling and then I redid it. So now the frets are fairly level. So yeah, I can get low action. Yeah, that's it. I recommend this as a good beginner 6-string bass. No complaints. It replaced my dad's Ibanez 5-string very, very quickly because I was using that thing while I waited for this thing. Took around 2 months to get here, maybe. No, a month and a half to get here because this instrument is popular and for a good reason. It's a really good instrument. Another thing that's nice is even if you do have high action, there's plenty of space between the edge of the fretboard and the high string, which means you don't have the risk of missing the fretboard like you do on my dad's Ibanez 5-string. It's made of high quality materials. When you get it, you will want to tighten up the neck bolts, but be gentle and know that adjusting the neck bolts won't fix some of your high-end fret buzz. So just tighten them till they're all at an even torque. And then boom, you should be done. You should be set. The nuts on it good. The nut on it is good. Bleh. Eventually I'm going to go with what brand of strings does Les Claypool use? I remember they've got a lot of thump to them, and it's in my head. One moment. Dunlop strings. that's the brand of strings I want to use. Speaking of, dog is doing good. Isn't that right? So yeah, that's it. Get good strings for it. Try to fiddle with the setup a little. You might get action a little lower than you expect. That's really it.